Hi everyone, welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024, and this is episode 292. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada, where we are enjoying a beautiful fall day. At the moment, it's about 15 degrees, which is sort of low 60s for those of you more familiar with Fahrenheit. It's been a mix of sun and cloud all day. We're supposed to have more tomorrow, so really enjoying that fall weather. The leaves have started to change, so there's beautiful color everywhere. And I even saw a light dusting of snow on the mountains on the weekend after we'd had some rain. So yeah, definitely the season has changed. Autumn and spring are my two favorite seasons. So, but very much enjoying the warm but not too warm kind of days. Although the other day, yesterday, was chilly and wet and cold, and I was bundled up in a sweatshirt all day. So, you know, that's also how the fall weather goes around here. It can change pretty quickly. Speaking of what I'm wearing, this is Etta by Allison Green. I knit this last summer out of Barocco Summer Sesame, which I believe was the yarn called for this project. Just as you can see, a little short sleeved, round yoked sweater. I think it had a little bit of waist shaping if I remember correctly. The yarn is kind of one of those self-striping or color changing yarns. Pardon me. It was really fun to make, and this is a sweater I've actually worn quite a bit. It was a funny inhalation there. I have some winners to announce. I love doing this. So one of my favorite things about doing this podcast is getting to kind of, you know, share the wealth with you a little bit. First up, we had a generous prize donation from Darlene, who works at Once Upon a Sheep, which is a yarn shop in Maple Ridge. I talked about this on my last episode. This is a very unique yarn shop. It is run entirely by volunteers, and the profits are used to send kids to camp. So a very good cause. So she sent this project bag that she had made. I'm gonna take it out of the crinkly plastic once again to show you. It's a really nice size, made with this batik fabric and this leaf print on the top, and then lined with this little alphabet print. And it has a pocket. And then the ties are also that alphabet print. So what I had you do on last episode on YouTube, whoops, dropped that little bag it came in. I asked you to, if you're interested, to leave a comment with the word sheep in it. For the very first time, I did a giveaway like this and used a random comment picker to pick a winner, and that was you'll see it here on the screen, Diana Golderman 1005. And so I'm going to assume your name is Diana. So Diana, please, if you're on Ravelry, you can send a private message to Knits and Pearls. Or if you prefer, you can send an email to astitchintimepodcast@gmail.com, and I will get your mailing information from you and send this out to you as soon as I can. Just a heads up, I don't, for anyone else, I don't really use that email much, which is why I don't include it on my contact information, but I will make a point of checking it, Diana, to see if you have sent a message there. Okay, I'm going to pick up that bag and tuck this away safe and sound for mailing out. You'll notice this week, again, I have a little bit of a different background. This is the opposite side of the room where I usually record. This behind me is the door out to the hallway. I just felt like switching things up, plus I didn't feel like dragging the ironing board and ring light up from downstairs, which is where it is now stored. I've got my trunk beside me here to lay some things on, and a little folding table for the camera, which usually I have the ironing board with all my projects spread out, but I just thought I'd try it. I'm not sure it's the best background, it's a little boring, but I'm gonna go with it. Because considering I'm sitting here now anyway. The sun is out the window in front of me. I'm hoping as it goes down that it's not gonna kind of interfere with the background here. It is 4 o'clock as I'm recording, which is a little later than I like doing, but just kind of how the day worked out. Okay, Makealong winners. So we are now into the 4th quarter of the year, which means that I have prizes to announce for the 3rd quarter of the Smash the Stash year-long chatter thread, and then for our 3rd quarterly Makealong Rock Your Socks. So for Smash the Stash, I drew from posts 1195 to 1549. Random number generator chose post 1329. That's Ellie By or Ellie B. Ellie By, I guess, who is Ellie. I'm not sure where Ellie is from, but she is a frequent contributor, participant in the Makealongs. So congratulations, Ellie. You have won up to $25 US in patterns that are giftable on Ravelry. So please send me a private message on Ravelry with your pattern choices, and I will get those to you as soon as I can. Next up, for the Rock Your Socks chatter thread, I drew from posts 2 to 233. Random number generator chose post number 22. That is Turtle for Cats, who is Amanda from Richmond, Texas. So congratulations, Amanda. You have won your choice of $25 US in patterns that are giftable on Ravelry, or if you would prefer, I can send you a $25 US gift certificate for any local yarn shop of your choice, one that I'm able to purchase a gift card or gift certificate online and send it to your email. So let me or have it sent to your home. One way or the other, if I'm able to purchase one online and get it to you easily, then let me know which yarn shop you would like that gift certificate from. Otherwise, as I said, $25 US in patterns that are giftable on Ravelry. So again, get in touch with me via private message on Ravelry, please. And finally, the finished projects winner for Rock Your Socks. Wow, there were a ton of entries in this Makealong. I drew from number 2 to 116. Random number generator chose number 105. That is Cat in a Pickle. She lives in the UK. I'm not sure what her first name is, but I used to always think it was Katina Pickle until I saw a discussion. I think it was in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Makealong group, and she explained her Ravelry name. So now I see it in a whole new way, and she's got the cutest little avatar or Ravatar to go with it. In any case, congratulations. You have a choice of 3 different prizes. Up to $25 US patterns that are giftable on Ravelry, a $25 US gift card or gift certificate from a local yarn shop of your choice, as I explained, one that I can easily send to you, or else if you prefer, I can mail you a project bag that I made. I have two that are very similar here. You can choose which one you like. This is kind of a boating scene. To me, this has a very impressionist feel to it. And it is lined with this speckly polka dot fabric. The other is the same, except it has this street scene on it. I think it's the same, yeah, it's the same back and front. So if you would like that, I'm happy to pop that in the mail for you. So please do get in touch on Ravelry, and I will get your prize to you, whichever you choose. So thanks to everyone who participated in those make-alongs in the third quarter, and I'm really happy to announce our fourth and final make-along for 2024, which I'm calling All of the Above. And it is comprised of all the types of projects that were featured in the make-alongs from the first 3 quarters of this year. So that was Sweater Weather, which features garments, and then Accessorize It, which, as you might guess, are accessories, and then Rock Your Socks. So there's quite a lengthy first post in that chatter thread. I urge you to read it thoroughly so that you're understanding all the rules and guidelines. It is open to new projects only, except for 2 exceptions. You may have whips if you have either a garment that is less than 50% completed at the beginning of the make-along, or if you participated in the Sweater Weather make-along and your garment from that is not yet completed, you may complete it this quarter. So you, if that's the case, you need to indicate the starting post from back in the first quarter make-along, back in the Sweater Weather, brother. On your starting post for this make-along, please include the starting post number from the Sweater Weather make-along so that I can verify that, yes, that even, just in case it's something like 3 quarters completed, then I can verify that, yes, this was begun for that make-along back at the beginning of the year. Otherwise, just make a note of your starting post for any of your projects for this make-along, because I would like you to include them in the finished projects thread when you're finished. And that's just a really easy way for me to then go back to the chatter thread, verify that, yes, it was cast on and completed within the given time. So just a really easy way for me to check that. And you may knit, crochet, weave your items. It just needs to contain a minimum of 50 yards. So any size from baby to adult, but the items in question do have to be for people, not dolls or toys. But yes, minimum of 50 yards must be used. So like I say, please just go read the first post of the All of the Above chatter thread, and I think everything hopefully is laid out there. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I've been really behind on Ravelry posts, although I'm desperately hoping to catch up. I did catch up on YouTube comments this weekend. So if you do have a question that you need a fairly quick reply to, send me a Ravelry message instead. I am more likely to see that than a comment. I have sort of failed, I would guess, as a podcaster Ravelry group host recently, and I apologize for that. If you've watched the last couple of episodes, you know, life has been a little out of the ordinary here, and there are other things taking up time and brain space. And so I just continue to ask for your patience in that area. I do appreciate all of you both, you know, watching the podcast and leaving a comment and participating in the Makealongs. And I always feel guilty. I go to sleep every night feeling guilty that I haven't caught up, but I have to be a little easier on myself. I know that. I know I certainly don't hold it against other podcasters, but you know, it's when it's your own self, you have that weight on your shoulders. Anyway, enough about that. Let's move on to the making. And this week I have a finished project. I am going to pop some footage in here, and then I'll be back to talk to you a little bit more about it after that. Okay, so here is my finished Jethro. Well, finished with an asterisk. I still need to put buttons on here. I thought I might be able to find some buttons in my button collection. Unfortunately, I did not have enough or enough of a suitable size or color. I thought it might be fun to pick out 5 of the colors from the granny squares and do one button in each color, or I may just choose a neutral gray, you know, then they kind of blend in with the cardigan as opposed to standing out. We'll see. I'll make a trip to the fabric store later this week and see what I can find. Most of the time I'll probably wear my sweater unbuttoned, but here, this gives you an idea of how it would look if it was buttoned up. A little bit more tailored, actually a little bit more to my liking. I don't tend to like big baggy clothes. On the other hand, I picture myself wearing this kind of around the house on a cool fall, winter, spring day. So it's not like a whole lot of people are going to see me in it anyway. So this is Jethro by Tanis Lavallee of Tanis Fiber Arts. And I was inspired to make it after seeing I think a post on the Sweet Georgia Yarns website. I know somewhere on that website is where I first spotted this pattern. You know, I may have seen it before, possibly on the Tanis Fiber Arts podcast, but it just didn't strike me the same way. And as soon as I saw the sweater in progress on the Sweet Georgia website, I just thought, oh, I want to make that. And I had the perfect yarn in my stash. I had a full skein set of the Mountain Tweed Merino DK from Fiber Nymph Dye Works in the River Rock colorway, which was comprised of 6 skeins of 6 different colors. And then I purchased 3 skeins of the Soot colorway in order to finish it. So the first 5 rounds of all of the granny squares was done with the River Rocks colorway set, and then the bottom band, the front and neck bands, and the sleeves were all done with the Soot colorway. And this yarn is so soft and cozy and warm. I really can see myself getting a lot of use out of this cardigan. I made the 3rd size, which when I first read it, I thought, oh, maybe that's a bit too much ease for me. Did I mention? I don't like big bulky things, but I actually think it was just exactly the right size to make. So if you're deciding to make it, if you decide to make it and are waffling about sizes, I do think in this case you do want a lot of ease, particularly because it is a drop shoulder construction, and so you want enough of a circumference to take that into account. So yes, I did it. I made it exactly as instructed, except when it came to seaming the shoulder seams and the side seams, I did a slip stitch crochet instead of mattress stitch as was suggested. And when it came to joining the granny squares, I followed the link for the join as you go method tutorial that was provided in the pattern, and I found it really easy to do. Once I kind of understood the concept and how it was all going to go together, once I had put together the first front, which was these 8 squares here, I hardly had to look at the video again. Maybe for the second front, but after that, it was fine. I understood what was going on. So this is comprised of 36 crocheted granny squares. There are 8 for each front, and then 20 on the back. If I do that, you can see how it goes together. I, being me and not a very random person, did a little bit of calculating, and I worked out a way to make sure that I had each of the 6 colors from the half skein set show up 6 times in each of the positions on the squares, and no square is the same, although some do have the same center and second round being the same, but after that it's all a mix. And I basically went there were 3, what I would call 3 colors and 3 neutrals, and so on each one I alternated between a color and a neutral. Sometimes the color was the center, as in this case. Sometimes the neutral was the center. So some squares have 3 neutrals and 2 colors, and some have the opposite. And I thought that made for a good balance of color distribution. And yet I have to say, after very carefully laying it out and arranging and rearranging the whole layout for how I seam them together, I don't think you could even tell if I just randomly put them together. But that's okay, it made me happy at the time. So let's come a little closer and show you some of this. More close up. So I'm hoping you can see the camera is in front of the window, so maybe blocking some of the light. But hopefully that gives you an idea of the granny squares. So yes, super happy to have a FO. Haven't had one, it feels like, for a little while, and really just totally looking forward to wearing this in the upcoming cool months. So again, just another kind of look at it, and I can, without any reservation, highly recommend this pattern. So if you enjoy some crochet and like the idea of combining knitting and crochet and like the idea of a nice cozy sweater, go for it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Okay, so here's my Jethro up close. Hopefully you can get a good look at those squares and this gorgeous yarn. Love this Tweety yarn. I was playing yarn chicken with this. I had bought 3 skeins, which should have been plenty for the 3rd size, but I was worried about running out of yarn on my sleeves. I took the skein that I had left, and I weighed it and divided it in 2, but did not cut the yarn, and so I knit from the inside of one skein and the inside of the others that I had wound up. And as I was nearing the end of the first sleeve, I started to relax a little. I knew I had a couple grams left over from that half, and so I wasn't quite so worried with the second sleeve. As it was, I had, I think, just over 5 grams left over, so enough but by no means a very comfortable amount left over. But I do have lots of the River Rocks skeins left over here. That's actually really good light to give you a good look at all those colors. Are they pretty? So I used about 55 grams of each of these 6 skeins, which gives me about 45 grams of each left over. So I actually have ordered a couple of skeins of this Mountain Tweed Merino DK in the, I think this is soot. I ordered it, I can't remember the colorway name, but it's basically black. Might be carbon or something like that. Anyway, I ordered that, and what I'm thinking of doing is a stripy sweater with all of the colors. So I was thinking of, I think it's called Stripes by Andrea Mowry, and I think it calls for a sport weight, but I think I can make it work with a DK. So don't know when that'll happen, but the yarn should be on its way to me soon. So yeah, as I mentioned previously, I just love how this turned out. It is so soft and so comfortable, and I've just anticipate it getting worn just a whole lot this cooler season. Look how nice it is. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I haven't been as happy with a finished project in a long, long time. Like, I just love everything about this. Just need some buttons. I can see some sun coming in here. I think I might just shift this a little bit that way. I should still be able to reach my trunk beside me. So I'm gonna do that and come back just so that this isn't too distracting. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, hopefully that's better. It's got the light shining here, and I'm sort of put myself right in between my craft room door and the closet door with this cupboard in behind me. It's probably, again, not the greatest background, but whatever. It is what it is. It should keep the sun out of the shot in any case. So I have a couple of knitting works in progress this week. Same ones I think I showed you last week. I didn't bring a sock blocker, so I'll just have to make do without one. This is a pair of socks I'm knitting from this beautiful Atlantic Wildflowers colorway of the Bedazzled base from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. That was kind of a backwards way of explaining it, but I love these colors. This is a plain vanilla sock, 64 stitches, 2mm needles, and the set came with, or this main skein came with this complimentary colorway, little mini. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think you can see the sparkles there in the light. So I did a 2x2 ribbed cuff, and then I began the colorway in the same place where it would have begun after this blue. You can see where the blue ends, that purple color begins. I did an Eye of Partridge heel because I thought that would look pretty. Again, you can see the sparkle. And I have finished the gusset decreases. So I'm just starting to work my way down the foot here. Aren't they gorgeous colors? I love this colorway. So fun. And I think I'm at about the same place with the other sock. Let's see. Yep, I'm just a little bit less. I'm just beginning the pink stripe on this foot. But I've just finished the decreases. So that, if you can believe it, is all the sock netting I've done again in the last just over 2 weeks, I think, since I recorded last. Like, that is not usual for me as a prolific sock knitter, but that's just, I've been in the mood for spinning and for my Jethro cardigan. That took a lot of my attention. And then my next project that I'm going to show you in progress has has taken a great deal of attention too. And so socks have just been kind of low on my priority list lately, which just seems strange. But yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, goodness knows, I have a million socks and I don't need to make any more, so it's not, that there's any problem not knitting socks. It's just very unusual for me to only have that much work done on a pair of socks. Like those were started last time I showed them to you. So it's not even like I've done all that work in 2 weeks. So the project that, especially in the last probably week, has been taking the majority of my attention is a mystery knit along by Lisa K. Ross of Paper Daisy Creations. It's the Wings of Wonder MCAL. It is a shawl or a wrap. And last episode I did show you, I think I showed you clue 1, maybe the beginnings of clue 2. I don't even know if I had gotten that far. So this week I am going to show you up to the beginning of clue 5, which came out yesterday. So if you don't want to be spoiled, again, I'll put a time down here at the bottom of the screen that you can skip ahead to. Scream, how about screen? And I will also do my best to remember to do chapters so that you can actually click on it at the bottom of the screen to get to the next step. So let me just move a couple things out of the way here. And I will first show you the yarn that I'm using. I believe, yeah, I would have showed it to you last week. Everything's in this box here. So let me get this off the top. It's rather precarious. So this yarn I'm using is from Sweet Paprika, and this was a set that was done for another of Lisa's mystery shawl knit-alongs, the Mountain Musings MCAL, and this was a Summit colorway, and they brought it back for this Makealong. So the main color is this black, and the yarn is a merino cashmere. I don't know if it's got nylon too. It might just be merino cashmere. It's very soft, very luxurious. And so that's the main color, and then there are 7 shades of gray, natural, and blue. And I'll pop a picture in here that shows you the set as I received it. And then of course you will see the colors in more detail as I show you the progress so far. So this was a little bit of a surprise. I've done 2 other of these mystery knit-alongs, and in every case, every step has been different. Where this time around, clues 1 and 2 were more or less the same as clues 3 and 4, except they slanted different directions. So when I began clue 1, and I don't remember, hang on, this would have been clue 1, and I showed that to you last week, and I said it looked like it was, the shape was a parallelogram. Although I couldn't remember what it was at the time. I had to look it up after when I was editing it. But yes, my thought was that this shawl was going to be a parallelogram because we were increasing on one end and decreasing on another. And the first part of the shawl was made up of this chevron pattern, and you had a choice of doing, it was called plumage lace. So you could either do, it was a plumage plumage section. You could choose to do plumage lace or plumage chevrons. And the difference was in the lace, you were doing yarn overs to create the zigzags, and in the chevrons, you were doing make ones left and right. I decided I wanted a more angular look to it, and I also thought that the if it was on the end of a shawl, I thought it might be a more stable stitch pattern than the lace, so I opted for that. And so I think when I showed this to you last week, I think maybe I was partway through the chevrons. And then on clue, so clue 1 took me up to this point, and then clue 2 was this birdseed pattern, and you can see all the colors were used in that. And so at the end of clue 2, we were left with a parallelogram shape with these chevrons and this birdseed pattern. So I was anxiously awaiting clue 3, thinking, ooh, maybe now we're going to do stripes of each of the 7 contrasting colors, and maybe a different stitch pattern. Oops, I'm losing things here, they're falling on the floor. Maybe we'll do, different stripes of these different colors in different stitch patterns. And I was all excited about, spending some time using each of these colors, in a bigger section. And then clue 3 arrived, and at first glance, it looked like it was identical to clue 1. And I'll be honest, I went, oh, I don't feel like doing all those chevrons over again. I was really put off. I was really looking forward to, like I said, using these colors in a greater quantity. And the thought of going back and doing all of this over again, I wasn't feeling it. And I think I even left it like a whole week. And then clue 4 came out, and as I suspected, again, it was like from here to here, all over again. But I took a peek at the discussion in the Ravelry group, which I haven't participated in at all, and I found, because I was curious if other people felt the same way, and indeed there were some people going, not feeling it, don't think I'm going to continue. And I think it was one of the moderators and or testers that said, it's not exactly the same, it slants in an opposite direction, and trust me, it's a beautiful finished result. I urge you to continue. And so I thought, I signed up for this, and the whole point of it is to let the mystery unfold. And when I heard that the slants were going a different direction, so I thought, okay, there's a plan for this. We're not just knitting a parallelogram, and we're not going to be just doing it and like grafting it together in the middle. In fact, one person was asking about that, and the designer said, no, there is no grafting in this. So I thought, okay, let's just take, that leap of faith. And so I cast on the second half here and persevered, and I stayed up late last night to finish it because I really wanted to do step 5, which came out a day early. So clue number 5 launched, I think it was yesterday morning. And then when I saw it, I went, that's how it goes together. So I'm actually going to show you because it's a spoiler, you already know it's a spoiler, I'm just going to show you the layout because I cannot show it to you with my shawl. It's just too big and bulky. If you look at it, there's clue 1 and clue 2 and clue 3 and clue 4, and you can see they indeed do slant in opposite directions. And now we are filling in this triangle here in stripes of each color. And so it's much like you would knit a triangular shawl from the bottom up. We're decreasing at each of these points and filling in, at least so far with stripes, this section. I'm assuming it will continue that way till it's done, but then I was fooled before, so I shouldn't say that with huge authority. So I have just begun. See, if I show this to you, well, actually, this is a good way to show it to you, because look how pretty that looks on camera when it's all, you know, all together. I haven't really looked at it from this perspective before. You can see I've got stitch stoppers on there because I don't want to lose my stitches. Yeah, so that's how it looks so far. So it really does give you a feeling of wings. And then I have just begun clue 5 here. So you can see I've got a garter stitch stripe, and then there's a little lace section here. And so clue 5, I'm just looking, it continues with colors, it contains colors 1 through 4. So I have 4 different sections of patterning to do in colors 1 through 4. So now I get to use the colors all by themselves and do some different stitch patterns. So I think I'm going to enjoy the last part of this. So I'm just trying to untwist things. I think I will enjoy the last part of this Makealong more than the first. But yeah, there it is in all its unfinished glory. My only concern is that I went down 1/2 millimeter to knit this project. When I did the last one, I found it very, very long. And so I thought I would just go down to smaller needle size so I'd end up with a smaller project. Now I'm hoping it's not going to be too small, like not long enough, because it is quite wide, but it's not really, really long. But you know what? It'll be what it'll be, and I'm just not going to fret about it anymore. So that has been enjoyable. Well, no, I'm not going to lie. A lot of it was not very enjoyable. I was getting tired of the chevrons, but I enjoyed doing this birdseed section last night and then beginning this lace. I think I started the lace this morning, did a few rows. Just gonna lean down, pick up my yarn that dropped. Oh, now I've flung it out of the way. Can you say discombobulated? And I see the sun is creeping back into the screen, but I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna move my setup again. Okay, spinning. I am continuing to work on my Sweet Georgia Yarns Corridale in the tapestry colorway, which looks like this. Really pretty pinks, pink purple, kind of an olivey green, and a golden yellow. And some orangey bits where the colors combine. It's very, very pretty. Love this colorway. So I have finished spinning. So as I mentioned last episode, I have 3 braids of this fiber. I have divided each of the braids in 4 lengthwise. And I am spinning two lengths from each of the braids, 2 onto 1 bobbin. So this is basically half a braid of the first braid, 2 halves of the braid, 2/4 of the braid spun end to end. And so that I'm calling that 1A. That's how it looks when it's spun up. It's spinning up quite fine. Again, can't believe how fine my spinning is becoming. It's gorgeous. And then I have spun up the first quarter of braid number 2 just about. And then this is the last 3/4 of braid number 2. So I will take this one and add it to the bobbin I'm currently working on. So and then I will do 2/4 of the braid number 3 back to back. And then I'll apply those 3 bobbins together. And then I'll do the same with the rest. So what I'm going to end up with is 2 bobbins of about 150 grams each of this yarn. Not sure how much yardage that'll give me, but I think it'll be nice plied into 3-ply, and in some cases the colors will overlap, and in some cases they'll barber pole, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. So enjoying that when I get a chance. It's a good, like the other day I was just like feeling just a little tired, a little stressed, and I just sat down for about 15 minutes, spun, and like consciously just breathed in, breathed out, and it did definitely have a calming effect on me. Love the fact that I'm now spinning, and not mad that I resisted it so long, because I think I started at the right time for me, but so glad that I did at last start spinning. So I knew I would love it, and I love it even more than I thought. Up and coming, well, I still have not cast on September's Personal Sock Yarn Club yarn. I showed this to, I guess, probably the last 2 episodes. It's from Polka Dot Creek. This is the Birch colorway. And it also came with skein of chocolate and spruce, mini skeins. So my intention is to use those for heels and toes. I don't think the color is showing up very well. Sorry about that. Oh, there, that's better. But even though I have not yet cast on September's yarn, and obviously it's not going to happen in September, because September has now disappeared, I thought I would open October's yarn anyway, see what's in it. I think it might be another Polka Dot Creek yarn, because I had one that's called something like Pumpkin Patch or something. I don't know that for sure. I don't remember for sure, but part of me is wondering if I would have put 2 Polka Dot Creek back to back, but on the other hand, I think they made sense for the months when I chose them. So let's find out. I'm just undoing the staples. In case you're new, welcome. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I've been doing a Personal Sock Yarn Club. I did it last year. I've been doing it all year this year. At the beginning of the year, I put away 12 skeins of sock yarn, and I've been opening them up at the beginning of each month and knitting that yarn in that month. Except for September. I kind of failed there. Yes, it's what I thought it was. So this is, like I thought, or suspected, another Polka Dot Creek yarn. This is called Pumpkin Patch. I wasn't sure. And the minis are Spice and Moss. So as I explained, I think last episode or the episode before, what I really like about these sock sets is because they have two minis, that's like 140 grams. So I can get 2 pairs of socks out of one sock set. So it's a very economical way of using the hand-dyed yarns, because it costs more to buy, but I can, like I said, get 2 pairs out of a set instead of just like one where I normally would get, because I don't really do shorty socks because I don't wear them. But yeah, okay, so who knows, by the time I record next time, which I'm hoping will be in a couple of weeks, if everything goes to plan, except there is no plan right now. Who knows, maybe I'll have 2 new pairs of socks cast on. I have no idea. Life. Let's talk about life very briefly. So curling has begun. We have technically had three weeks of our Monday night league, but we were supposed to have curled on the first night, curled a game, but our opponents forfeited because a couple of their team members were sick, and so we ended up just having a practice. So we had our first game last Monday, and then our second game earlier this week. We lost our first game, but we won ours on Monday night. And actually, we had a really good game. We played a good team. I figured we were going to be beaten because they generally beat us. But they had an off night, and we had an on night. And we won handily. So that was very gratifying. And then I curled yesterday on my Tuesday morning league. That's an all women's league. And we again lost our first game, but then we did win yesterday. We came from behind to tie it up and then go ahead, and then they tied it up, and in our last end we got 1 point to win. So it was a good close game and a really nice team to play. So we're off to a good start. I'm enjoying curling so far. The only thing I don't like about it is that our Monday night league now has a second draw. So most of the time we start at 6:45, but I think it's 4 times before Christmas we have a late game which starts at 9 o'clock. So that it makes it for a late night. We're not early to bed people, so that's not so much. It's just that when you get home you need to wind down, and that can be hard. And then knowing Cameron has to get up and go to work the next day, and I have to get up and be ready to go back to the rink for the next morning. It's just kind of more of a mental thing than anything, I guess. As it turned out, on Monday night, we all got there early, and the the sheet that we're supposed to curl on was empty. That team from the first draw had already finished, and so we were able to start early and then therefore end early. So instead of playing till close to 11, we finished at about 10:30, and so it wasn't nearly as bad. That's good too, because Cameron is working out of town a few days this week and next week, and he had to be up really early yesterday morning to drive to his store that's quite a ways out of town from where we live. So it's about a 2-hour drive. So he was also glad we finished early. Hopefully the same is true next week. See what else? Just looking at my notes down here. Oh, we had a really nice little sleepover with our granddaughter. She's turning 10 at the end of the year, and so she still is into visiting grandma and grandpa and having sleepovers. So as I mentioned before, we have been getting our house ready to list in case we decide to sell. And so we had moved one of our spare bedrooms from the downstairs to the upstairs, and she was quite intrigued at or excited by the idea of like having a sleepover in like the new bedroom. Cameron and I took her out for dinner first. There is one restaurant in town that she had mentioned she really liked and was eager to go again, and she said, oh, maybe next time I sleep over, maybe we could go there. Well, we went over and it turned out to be closed on Thursdays. Don't usually get restaurants closed on Thursdays, but okay. So then it was, okay, where do you want to go instead? And she decided there was a sushi place across the street, which I didn't mind. I'm not big on sushi, but I like the chicken teriyaki noodles and stuff, stir fry things. That was okay with me. Cameron went along with it, but he didn't really enjoy his meal because he doesn't really care for that. But she was happy, and she and I had our leftovers the next day for lunch. So not quite the plan, but it was fine. And next time we'll take her to that other restaurant. I'm just happy that you know, she's still of an age. She likes to come. Whereas my grandson, he's turning 14, and going to grandma's is really not that fun anymore. All right, our house hunt continues. Since I last recorded, we've looked at a few new places, a few different places. I can't remember. Last time I think we were going to go look at a condo or condominium, which we liked, but yeah, it didn't work out. Maybe you'd already done that by the time I talked to you. I don't remember. We have since looked at a few new places. I think they've all been townhouses. One was in a 55 plus community, gated community, with a nice clubhouse that had a pool and a gathering room and all that. We liked it, but there was too much work that we would have had to do to make it how we wanted it. Plus the kitchen was a bit too small, and that's one thing that we couldn't fix. So we passed on that. One we did see on the weekend that we quite liked, and it currently has an offer on it. We're going to keep an eye on that and see if that doesn't work out, maybe we can get in on it. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep looking at different listings, and eventually we'll find something that's right for us. One thing that I've realized now, out of, I think we've seen 6 places in person, and out of them, 3 were quite viable as far as size and layout and things. There are other things around them that weren't quite right, but it makes me realize that there are a lot of places we could find ourselves in, and when it's the right place, everything will fall into place. Okay, I'll keep you posted. When we find something, you'll know. All right, that brings me to something good. I discovered, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 ago, a YouTube channel called Desert Drifter. And the host is a man named Andrew. I would say he's probably in his 30s. And he hikes around the American Southwest, and does some rock climbing, goes through canyons and this desert landscape, and often comes across, he seeks them out on Google Earth and different things, but finds like cliff dwellings and rock art and things like that. and he is just a lovely person. A couple of times now his wife has accompanied him, and she's also very lovely. He just has a very calm demeanor, has different historical things to educate you about. He very much advocates that if you find a piece of pottery or an arrowhead or a, ancient, spear or tool or something, like, leave it where you find it. Pick it up, take a look at it, and then put it back down so someone else can enjoy it. I just very much enjoy that channel, so I'll leave a link to that in case that's something you think you might be interested in. But I've quite enjoyed him. I think I've made my way through all his videos now, so maybe I'll have to go back and watch some of them over again. Anyway, I feel like this sun is really creeping in here. I've come to the end of what I need to say anyway, and so as always, I will say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your comments and your participation in the make-alongs. I'm really hoping that this last quarter of the year that I will be able to keep up with the Ravelry group better. I know I really fell down this last couple of months. Anyway, have yourselves a good couple of weeks. I'm hoping to be back in a couple of weeks to record again, so cross your fingers that that all works out. And in the meantime, enjoy your crafting and take care of yourselves. So hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.